So these two young ladies, they ended up meeting at Miss Higby's school for young ladies in Memphis, Tennessee. It was said that they were opposites, but they became very close friends. So back then, especially in their teen years, it was common for girls to be openly affectionate with each other, like holding hands, hugging, and even kissing. And it was called chumming. Chumming, great, love it. Now, chumming was considered a kind of rehearsal for adulthood and like becoming a man's wife. So you would practice on someone, if you know what I'm saying. Because like you weren't allowed to practice on a man if you were a woman. The only physical contact that was considered to be acceptable at this time, besides making out with your friend, would be like if you're dating a guy and like maybe he extended his hand out to help you like out of the carriage. And that was like as far as you can go with someone. So friends would be chumming. Yeah. And I was thinking, well, what does this mean? Like, were they making out? What were they doing? Because I know you're wondering and you're asking the real questions out there and you want to know what kind of kissing was allowed in chumming. Yeah, you're thinking it. I know you are. And that's a great question. So there's a lot of research regarding this case in particular. It's not clear if they were like making out. Was it just a peck on the cheek? What was it? But I think as we go on, you can kind of put together what it was. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, you'll see. They were like lesbian lovers, okay? So we're getting into it. Both Alice Mitchell and Frida Ward, they had recently graduated from school, Alice had turned 18, which may sound exciting, but in 1892, that didn't necessarily mean like, freedom, I'm moving out of my parents' house. Society at this time, aka like white men in power, they dictated what was supposed to come next. And there was really only one answer: marriage and babies. That was your future, ladies, and that's all you had going for you. Of course, like women who had to help support their families could join the workforce. Usually they'd work in like factories or shops, but for the most part, women were mainly expected to be like homemakers. And if you did work, you still had to be like a good homemaker. That was your first and only job. It's kind of funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. We can laugh at it now because we've come some ways. Because, there were some colleges that would allow women in. I know, shocking, like Ivy League colleges. But there was always a lot of controversy around it. Because at this time, leading doctors, including like a very prominent doctor from Harvard, warned that female brains were small and that the extra effort it took them to solve algebra problems or read Latin would actually kill their overtaxed brain cells. I know, so rough for us ladies, isn't it? Algebra? It's too hard. I can't do it. My overtaxed brain cells. Let's say a lady did go to college and she got a degree. Now, it was thought that this woman, if she got a degree, she would be sterile and sickly for the rest of her life. That's because a woman's brain and whole central nervous system were thought to be linked to the uterus. Ain't it funny? So if the brain diverted too much energy, the reproductive system would shrivel up and die. What a bummer. They thought this was true, So if you were a woman who went to college and you're proud, it's kind of like a buzzkill, really. So Miss Frida Ward, she had always been studious and well-behaved. It was said that she was really pretty. She was tall, flirtatious, blonde, blue eyes, good for her. When she was young, her mother had passed away. I guess she was only 8 years old. And her older sister, her name was Ada, she was the one that had taught Frida domestic arts. My dumbass literally had to look up, what are domestic arts? It's stuff that women are supposed to be doing, like embroidery, making clothes. You get it, right? Hopefully you get it. Anyways, domestic arts. So this family, they were pretty wealthy. They had servants. They had a cook growing up. So the Ward sisters, they didn't have to do housework, which was nice. Good for them. But proper young ladies of their class were still expected to mostly stay at home and like just wait for a suitor to come along and like start courting them, which was kind of confusing to me. I was like, how are you supposed to meet someone if you're inside waiting all day? But I don't know, I didn't get that far into it. Meanwhile, they were supposed to focus on feminine arts like music, doing charity work, and spending hours each day embroidering linens or like making needlepoint decor for their future homes. That kind of sounds nice. I wouldn't mind doing that. It doesn't matter. Frida Ward, I guess she didn't mind sewing. She kind of liked it. But her chum, her BFF, her best friend, her bestie, Alice, absolutely hated it. Ever since she was small, Alice Mitchell, she, I guess, was a little bit of a rebel, you know? She always went against, like, social norms and whatever was expected of her, you know, to, like, sit inside, be dainty, be a cute little woman. She was like, nah, no, I'm not doing that. She was known to be more of a tomboy who, like, excelled at climbing trees. That's what it said. She excelled at climbing trees and playing with marbles with the boys. What a rebel. I guess Miss Alice, she could shoot a rifle just as well as like any of the guys. And she didn't bother like with a saddle whenever she rode the horse that her father bought her. She raw dogged it. And she even like learned how to harness a spirited horse and hitch it to a buggy. Wow.